this is Beth Ann. Welcome to our vlog, Just Thinkin'. I was thinking about that vlog. Very loud, opinionated gal. There you go. But I was just thinking about our children. Every now and then you hear them all talk about our children in the news. You know, when they're born, you don't feed a newborn steak. You have to wait till the child has teeth. You don't sit them on the floor to walk. You have to wait until they've grown enough to have enough muscle and enough bone and enough strength to do that. And it's a process, and you help them with it. Every step of the way, you help them. And they fall down, and you pick them back up. We spend our time as parents or guardians protecting our children. Well, I was just thinking, they now want to change the voting age to 16 years old. Now, I remember when they changed it to 18 years old because I was one of the first groups of 18-year-olds that got to vote. I'm not sure I really knew what I was doing at that time. My parents were they weren't involved. They kept themselves in the news about what was going on. So you don't really have enough experience, enough going on. You haven't paid enough taxes. You haven't worked long enough. Everybody's been telling you what to do, guarding you, to really know how to vote. But back in that day when they changed the vote to 18, it was because we were in a war. And at that time we had a draft. So you were drafting these 18-year-old boys, men, to war. So why not let them vote? And so that's why it was changed from 21 to 18 back in the day. I'm sure there was an agenda back then just like there is today. Today it's about the vote. It's not really about the child. It's not really about the citizen. And I got to thinking about that. And as I was watching Nancy Pelosi talk, her words were telltale. Now, we have read on the air, if you have listened to CSC Talk Radio, we have read the Beware of the Useful Idiots. And I have this if you would like to have it, or you can probably just search on World Wide Web and find it. In number 6, where it talks about, these are 8 steps to a socialistic state. Socialistic state. Number 6 is on education. Take control of what people read and what they listen to. Take control of what children learn in school. And then Nancy Pelosi made a statement. She said that it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school while they're learning about government. So think about that for just a moment. Capture the kids while they're in high school, while they're learning about government. What do they teach them today in the public school system about government? I think we can see that with the youth today, as they are all pushing for socialism because that's what they're being taught. So who's going to influence the 16-year-old when he votes? He hasn't even graduated from high school yet, or her. So who's going to influence that child when they go to vote? And yes, they're still a child. That's why they're not allowed to buy beer. That's why they're not allowed to buy a gun. And they can't drive until they're 16 years old. Oh, by the way, she mentioned that in here, and I had to I put my little notes down. Yeah, she said, because they can drive. And I go, well, you know, they have to have an ID to drive. They don't want them to have an ID to vote. Then, unfortunately, I was listening again last night. And this is all about our children. So I want you to stop and think about it. Just think about these things. This is a library in Houston. And to help the children become more accepting and loving, they're letting drag queens read books to them. Only they failed to do background checks on these drag queens, and one of the drag queens, his name is Alberto Garces, is 32 years old, and he is a known sex offender of young boys. So they wouldn't know that had a group of folks from Houston called Mass Resistance parents that are trying to protect their children. Drag Queen 101, they aren't your mothers. They're not your sisters. They're not your aunties. They are disturbed, perverted men dressing like women to take advantage of other people, particularly young boys and young girls. So why would a library have them come into their place and be with the children, sit them on their lap and reading books to them? I was just thinking, that's not a really good idea. We want to guard our children, keep them safe, and raise them in the right way. Think about it.